Hey y'all, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Pat tagging this, and we back with the new YouTube video. And today, man, we're gonna be talking about my top games. Should I say top 10? I don't know. I don't want to give a number just yet, but we're gonna discuss all of my favorite games, and I'll dive in detail with some of them. I'll even recommend some if you haven't played some of these. But let's get to it.
You a blessing, my baby, are you a curse? Cause you know some situations come with their perks. I need a sign and a message from universe. Man, I'm just trying to love you, not trying to hurt. Are you a blessing, my baby, are you a curse? Cause you know some situations come with their perks. I need a sign and a message from universe. Man, I'm just trying to love you.
Alright, we back, y'all. Got my little Destiny's Child picture in the background. You know, that little iconic photo. How y'all doing today, man? How's everything going, man? All of y'all life's good. I hope that everything is well. Hope your families is well, man. I appreciate all of the support that I'll be getting on these videos and everything. Like, it really means so much. But anyway, today we're gonna discuss my top games. I'm not gonna give no number, not no top 15, not no top 30, nothing. We just gonna talk about games that I just think is absolutely raw and cold as hell. You know, I'm trying to be as diverse as I can with this channel, so let's get it. First game I want to start with is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I played Red Dead Redemption 1, and honestly, when I played it on the 360, it was one of the best games I ever played, G. Like, a cowboy Grand Theft Auto is the best way to describe it. I remember playing John Marston and having to take out all the outlaws and everything. It just ultimately was a good story. Rockstar is so good at making stories. Like, their character development is out of this world. The settings, the atmosphere, everything. It's just so cool. So playing the first game was absolutely a good introduction to Red Dead Redemption. And I remember the first game before it, Red Dead Revolver. I didn't play it when it came out because that's an old game, like a PlayStation 2 game, Xbox game. But I remember that when I used to go to my homie Darren's house, his father had I think they had a PlayStation 2 over there, and we used to play it over there. And one of the games was that they had over there was Red Dead Redemption. I mean Red Dead Revolver, and that game was so cool. But I heard that both those games, they don't have no ties to them. It's Redemption is a whole different story. But man, the game continued. That's all that mattered. The series continued. But however, with back on Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 was most definitely slight. It was a story that was a prequel to the first one, basically telling you about Arthur Morgan, a person that was part of John Marston's gang, and with Dutch and the rest of the crew. And it, like, basically it tied in so well, like all of this stuff that we had questions about, like what was the gang doing, where was everyone at in their life before John Marston had to do what he had to do, was most definitely a good character build up. And spoiler alert, the game was cool up until the point where the character, or the player, I should say, the player realized that Arthur Morgan had tuberculosis. That was so sad. And then eventually he had to pass away. I liked how they gave you John Marston's story before Red Dead Redemption 1. Like that was so cool. But man, it was so sad that we lost Arthur. But if you want my rating for that game, I say most definitely a 10 out of 10. The story was there. The mechanics was there. Everything just tied into each other. Just everything about it was just so raw. Even the extra activities, the animals, you name it. The list goes on. So yeah, if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, most definitely borrow it from a friend or something. Get it from Gamefly, or just simply go to... Okay, so I'm back. So the next game that I'm going to talk about, let me see, what do I got over here? What do I got? Grand Theft Auto 5. If y'all want to look more at the case, funny, there you go. But you don't know what Grand Theft Auto is. You've been living under a rock. I ain't gonna lie to you. You have most definitely been living under a rock. I had got it on Xbox 360 when it first came out. I remember standing in the pre-order line, and when I did, man, it was an experience. That was actually the first time I stood in line for a video game. I later did it for God of War and one more other game, but besides that being the point, Grand Theft Auto was most definitely solid on certain aspects. Me and my homies, we talk about this all the time. We say, like, with Grand Theft Auto 5, the killing mechanics and the storyline is not topping GTA 4 or GTA San Andreas, because I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's just that those games, they had better gameplay and they had better storyline. But with GTA 5, it's just like it had all of this flashy stuff, and to this day, like they still getting money off of it due to the online and everything. And that's raw, that's cold, that's good marketing. But at the same time, for me personally, if we just going off the storyline alone, GTA 4 and San Andreas all day, it just was so much better. And if I play it right, I still to this day would play GTA 4 over 5 if we're just going off the story. And if we're talking online, I haven't had online in God knows how long. And that's because, you know, the money and everything that I've been doing has just been going strictly straight to music. But if I still was online gaming, I guarantee you I still would be playing GTA 5. But favorite person, there's 3 people you play as in GTA 5. If you don't know this, if you just the person out there that's under the rock, you play as Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. Michael's more so like the rich guy, Trevor's more so the hillbilly guy, and Franklin's just a guy that's in the streets in the hood trying to get out. They all have different stories. Preferably, I like Trevor's stories because he's wild. His missions be so crazy. Michael's the most boring person to me. He had a couple of good missions here and there, but no. Franklin, his missions are alright. I prefer his missions over Michael. If you ask me what I give this game, I'd probably give it an 8. It's not a bad score. 8 out of 10. I just wish that the story was more there, and I just wish that the killing mechanics was in comparison to the GTA 4, which was fun and felt more real, especially when you was driving. You turn the car around the corner, it just felt like you were turning a real car. But GTA 5, man, if you ain't played it, I'm not saying you're going to be disappointed. I mean, say for instance, this was just the first GTA you played, and you didn't play any of the other ones. I think you would be satisfied, honestly. Let me see. I'm gonna bring out both of them, to be honest with you. I got both of you. Both of the Uncharted's. Matter of fact, I even go on and add the DLC with it. All 3 of these games are amazing. They are so cold. Uncharted, I kid you not, is cold. Like the first one, Nathan Drake, that I think it was called Drake's Fortune. That joint was nice. It was raw. It was cool. It was the first introduction to the series. I mean, in comparison to the other ones, I think I like Uncharted 2 more than all of them. Like Uncharted 2 was so raw. It was challenging as hell with some of the enemies. It was too cold. Uncharted 3 was slight. Most definitely was slight. Uncharted 4's mechanics, the graphics, the story, everything changing, blown out the way, bro. Naughty Dog came through. Naughty Dog did not disappoint with not one Uncharted, not even the Lost Legacy. Like, Naughty Dog If you hearing this right now, G, like, y'all cold. Uncharted's climbing mechanics or parkour type style gameplay reminds me of like Assassin's Creed and stuff. Like, it's definitely dope. The killing is funny. Like, I remember on Uncharted 1, like, you take out the enemies or whatever, shoot them or something, their bodies would be flipping so high in the sky. It's just the most funniest thing to this day. The actors, the voice acting is so nice. The character development, it just brings you in. It just makes you feel the characters. Every game gives you a little bit more story about Drake and his adventures and Sully. Anybody, it's just too cold, man. It's just too cold. I do wish that they could have had Chloe, and I think Uncharted 3. I'm forgetting. Uncharted 3 or 4, but I wish they would have brought her back. And that would have been cool. That would have been good. But they did have her in A Lost Legacy. And with Nadine. That was most definitely like. So I'm not going to complain. Uncharted gets a 10 from me. And it's definitely on my list of favorite games. It's cold. Now here's another game. Another one for the PlayStation 4. The Last of Us. This game was absolutely amazing. Story mode was raw. The Infected, the zombies. There's a lot of games to touch on. The Infected and stuff like that. But that game did it to a different level. Like, its storyline it got you. I know I've been talking about a lot about character development, but I'm so serious. Like, these games are just like movies that you can control. Like, you control what goes on or what happens. And it's just so cold with The Last of Us, man. Like, Joe and Ellie's relationship progressing through the game, all the dangers that they run into, the life and death moments that you experience in the game, it just makes tension go super high. And you just like, no, all the way through. It's so insane. What's another thing? The DLC was cool when it told you about Ellie and her story and everything. That was nice. What's one of my favorite things from the game? There was a shootout in the game somewhere where it was like it wasn't the Infected involved, and it was just straight humans. That was probably one of my favorite missions from the game. What's another thing I like from the game? You have to strategically plan throughout the game. Like, you just can't go out guns blazing and killing all the Infected and people. Like, you got to plan your moves and your steps ahead. You got to make sure that you reserve your ammunition and that you use it all wisely, because there will be times where you need some stuff, and if you don't have it, you SOL. So I give that game a 10 out of 10. Story is nice, gameplay mechanics is nice, and that's another Naughty Dog game. So that's 2 up for Naughty Dog with the Uncharted series and Last of Us, and I cannot wait till Last of Us 2 come out. If y'all really love me though, straight up, if you really love this channel, y'all want this channel to keep going, fund me by sending me a copy of Last of Us, man. Please send it over. Last of Us 2. Come on now, do it for your brother. Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to take y'all way back. Let's talk about Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was so cool, G. Like, the zombie is killing, like, the zombie just running straight to the screen and everything. Like, usually when you think about zombie games, you think about the Infected just biting on your neck or whatever. These zombies out here slapping, punching you in the face, and then they got different zombies like the Smoker, the Boomer, the Hunter, and the Witch, which are some of the most hardest, toughest foes. Some of them are easy to kill more than others, but like, they all give more of a challenge and make more of a suspense to the game. Also, the music in certain areas or in the game in general, like the final finales on every board, when you're about to escape and leave and all the zombies go crazy try to come after you, bro. I like the roof finale. I like the boat finale. I don't remember the other one so well, but I just remember just pressing that button with my homies playing with me on co-op, and we would always try to run to the exit, but sometimes we both wouldn't make it. My homie would get knocked down and fall down while I'm on the boat escaping, or vice versa. I used to hate the tanker, which is this big swole guy if you never played the game. But this tanker, like, he just run up to you and just hit you, and then like, he'll literally go into a cut scene of your character's body flying off the roof if you was on the roof or whatever. That joint was so hilarious. Like, I got me an Xbox One too, and not just a PS4. So when I bust that thing, that bust out that game, boy, I'm low-key gonna have to pop in the Left 4 Dead one time for the fun time. But definitely, man, Left 4 Dead is definitely cool. Shout out to Valve for it. That's the company that's behind it. Left 4 Dead 2 was cool. That was slight too. And I just heard that they working on another one, which they gonna make me get the new Xbox just for that, G. But Left 4 Dead was most definitely slight. I recommend that game, and I give that game a 10 out of 10 because it was just so challenging. It was so new. Man, play Left 4 Dead. That's all I gotta say. I ain't gonna talk about it even though I spoke on it. But here's that young Red Dead Redemption 1. Bro, I don't even have to say nothing. You already know my take on it. It was cold. Same thing with GTA 4. And FYI, I bought about like 10, 20 of these 20 GTA 4s because it just kept on breaking. Back in the day, like when you had an Xbox 360 and that joint tipped over, it always put a ring in the CD. And that used to be the worst, bro. That used to make me so mad. I used to have to go to like Family Dollar and whatever to get the little ring off just for the CD to start working again. That joint used to make me so mad, bro. But that's why I'm glad. Like I just play on PS4. I'm not to say like I'm not into these Xbox versus PlayStation 4 wars. Like I joke around with my homie all the time, be telling him y'all suck and y'all garbage. But like I real life do not be meaning it. Like I don't care what system you got. I don't care what you play. As long as it's you enjoying, you having fun, that's all that matters. Real stuff. Now, I'm not pulling this out because I think that this is one of my favorite games or anything. But what I will say is that, like, legit, I was cool with Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 2. But when I played Gears of War 3G, it was cool until I seen that big, long centipede, whatever you want to call it, millipede, whatever. Anybody who knows me knows I got a big fear of centipedes and millipedes. I do not want to see all them arms or no insect. Like, leave me alone, G. Step away from me, bro. Ain't nobody trying to, So when I saw that on Gears of War 3, I immediately turned off my game. What you think? As soon as I seen the cutscene of that thing, I was like, nope. Turn off that game. Same thing with Judgment Day when you go into the sewers and you saw it. I was nope. Gears of War was cool into that. So it's a good game though. If you don't have no fear of millipedes or centipedes or whatever, the game for you, I'm telling you. It's very gory, but it's raw. But I'm not playing Gears of War 3. I played 1 and 2. I love it all day. But no. I ain't played the new ones. I couldn't tell you nothing about Gears of War 4 or 5. I heard that they slight, but no centipedes for me. Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom Pain. That game was absolutely amazing. I have never played any... Well, I mean, let me not say that. I played some of Metal Gear Solid 3. But I have never really played a full-fledged Metal Gear Solid game until Metal Gear Solid 5. I was interested in the story. I ended up doing more research about Snake and all the different snakes out there and hearing about the clones and all of that. I was weirding out. I'm looking like, and how all the games are out of order. I low-key think that I can't even say what I'm about to say. But if Kojima and and Konami was still together, I low-key think that they should have just remade all the games and just told you the story, just like how Capcom is doing with Resident Evil. Like, Capcom with Resident Evil, they do redoing all and remaking all of these Resident Evils. It's a genius marketing scheme, especially for the kids that don't know nothing about the games that came out like back in the day. And I'm still young myself. Like, I'm only 22, but like, that's what Konami need to think about doing. But with Kojima, I know that Kojima don't want to be involved with them or doesn't want to be around them, but if they did relink in the future, that would be a good marketing thing, because people would love this story. I know they would, because Metal Gear is too cold. On me, it's raw as hell. But the mechanics was good. Character development was good. How Big Boss, or I can't, you know what, I'm going to spoil it. How the clone actually thought he was the actual real Snake, real Big Boss, was such a plot twist at the end of the game, because the whole game has you convinced and making you think that you are the real Big Boss until you realize the real Big Boss helped you break out in the beginning and then took off and dipped off and did what he had to do to save whatever he was got going on, or to make whatever he was planning to make happen. Such a twist. And then you start feeling like, man, you put all that work, that effort, built all them relationships for nothing just to realize you're not the real guy. Like, had me heartbroken. But it was a good game, most definitely a solid game. One of my favorite games on the Xbox One. And then he had Ground Zero. I low-key think they should have had sold it as the same thing, the same package. And they do got one out there. I think they sell both. But they should have just put it together. All of that other stuff, just splitting the games, and Ground Zero wasn't even that long. They should never did that. But, however, I gave that game a 10 out of 10. It was solid. Had a lot of what the hell moments. But it still was amazing. It still was solid. Let me see, what else do I got for you? Stuff that I actually loved. Let's see. Batman Arkham Asylum. This was a solid game. This introduced me to the Asylum series. This absolutely was raw. I remember before I even got a chance to even buy the game, I used to play it at those Best Buys and Walmarts. They allowed you to play as Batman and all that. Like, them joints was cold. And you fighting people and he jumping around the room and dodging and reflecting everybody. That was such a good game. Like, the new Spider-Man, which I also have as well, you could tell it had got some influence from that Batman game. And honestly, I never used to like superhero games. I mean, I played Iron Man. But, what I about to say? I played Iron Man, but with the Batman game, Batman most definitely turned up on that one. The story was nice. It just had a whole comic book atmosphere, and it just kept you engaged and interested in the next thing that was about to happen. And that's why I loved about it. Even like the Joker fights. I'm not kidding you. Oh, by the way, the GTA I had pre-ordered and got, but that's besides the point. Yeah, Batman was most definitely a good game, solid. Any award that they won for or whatever accomplishment they made sales wise or whatever, that was well deserved, because that game was so cold. I have 3 more games from my Xbox collection that I would love to talk about. One being Max Payne 3. This game was cold too. Like I told you, Rockstar does very well with character stories and character development and all of that. Like, they're just so solid all around. To show you Max and all the stuff that he goes through. I mean, if you play Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2, you understand like his backstory and the history of what has happened to him to make him so dark and so sad or whatever. But in this game, it just shows you that no matter how many times he tries to escape problems and trouble, it just seems to always find him. And it ends very well. And it kind of leads you for a question at the end to see if there's going to be another Max Payne. But shooting wise, mechanic wise, this game definitely was amazing. It left me with a lot of memories. It has old school mode where I think if you shot like a couple of times, you're just dead. That's like the veteran mode on Call of Duty. Like, that game was definitely solid. It was nice. It being in Brazil, the favelas, and being in parts of New York City, like the environment matched. Everything just matched with the moment in the game. But it also had some of the most impossible situations. Like, this man took down a whole entire mob by himself. And I was just looking like, in real life, man, you have to have some serious skill to take down a whole mob. Like, that joint was crazy. And then had so many moments where they could have had killed this man. Like, movies do this all the time in games. But I guess it's just due to the fact that they the main character. But like, the main character about to die, then something magically just happens to stop them from dying, and then boom, they back into the game. I'm just looking like, you know what? These cliche stuff, bruh, for real. But Max Payne, man, I most definitely give Max Payne a 10. This also was a graduation gift for my mom. Like, when I graduated out of 8th grade, I still got an attack, and one day I think I might bring out the old Xbox 360 because I heard that Max Payne 3 ain't backwards compatible yet. Shake my head, but Saints Row 3, this game was just weird. Like, it was, in my opinion, it was a solid game, especially for when it came out. But it just left a tradition. Like, Saints Row 2 was just like a gangbanging atmosphere. Saints Row 1 was a gangbanging atmosphere. But 3 was just like a celebrity, weird atmosphere. Like, dudes slapping each other with dildos and big hands that smash people's bodies in seconds, and wrestlers and aliens, when it was just a gangster game before. And then in 4, this man become the president. Your character become the president. Like, I don't know who working there, but they done lost they mind. But Saints Row was a fun game. It's an entertaining game, especially when you bored and you just want to do some random stuff. Saints Row it's solid. I still like GTA better. GTA just feels more real to me. I don't know. Maybe it's all about which one you started off with first, because I started off with GTA. I ain't see Saints Row till like later on. I didn't even play the first game until I finished the second game. So it's just like, Saints Row is solid, but I'll give it probably like a 8 out of 10. It just wasn't that much of a perfect game, but it was tolerable. Saints Row 2 always will go down in history though. And 1, solid. Let's talk about Call of Duty. Let's make this the last game. I'm going to touch on more games in the future, but this is only my Xbox / PlayStation collection. I mean, we can go over my PlayStation 2 games on another day, but today we're going to end it off with Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was solid. It was nice. Its storyline was amazing. Its multiplayer was cold. Its zombies mode was phenomenal. And the characters were all dope. It was just solid all around. And you could tell that it still holds weight to this day, because some of the maps are still being played on to this day. Call of Duty Mobile, the game that you could play on your little phone, like, that joint, it had got some of the Call of Duty Black Ops maps, and it's just so crazy. But after Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I think it was in everybody's mind, like, how was they going to follow up and how was they going to top it? And when they brought out Black Ops 2, it was futuristic. It was like a blend between old school and new school. And it worked so well. It blended in so well before Call of Duty just started getting super futuristic, going way left. But, like, it was just so raw. The gadgets was new in there. The weapons, they were stronger. The storyline was more insane. Everything was just in your face, like Michael Bay explosions. You know what I'm saying? So, I definitely recommend you play that game. And all the games that I mentioned in this video, one thing that they all have in common is their character development is solid. I feel like what makes a good game is its storyline, the people, because if you can feel for people, I feel like it makes you care more. I feel like also the atmosphere, whether it's dark, whether it's light, it don't matter. If it matches with the character's personality or the people's personality, it will go just right. When the killing is just, I'm back. People have been calling me throughout this video, but what I will say is, like, a game's ability to relate characters or relate situations to real life situations that's going out there in the world also makes a game so cold and so raw. When the killing is just not just for fun, but it also has meaning, or the fight, or anything that's a problem that you can solve, or a twist, a cliffhanger, something, like, it makes a game all just more interesting. When the mechanics are interesting, you can get used to it, but it's not too hard. I mean, I feel like mechanics also sometimes gotta be easy, but like, not too easy, but not too hard, just in the middle, a happy medium. That's when the game comes together so well. And when you have all of those things, you are gonna have a killer game. I feel like with games though, a lot of them nowadays, I feel like they don't have that thing to make you continue to want to play, because after you finish, there's nothing else to unlock or nothing else to go to do unless you play in Borderlands or let's think, Grand Theft Auto, like with the secret characters and all of that stuff. Like, there usually be nothing else to do in a lot of these games. So moving forward, games need to most definitely have more than just a story to occupy you in the multiplayer. Like, it needs to be layered with a whole bunch of stuff, especially like if it's a free roll game, a whole bunch of stuff you can do with not just a story to keep you busy and distracted for more than just 2 weeks or 2 days, because games be just so fast to complete, especially if you just consistently playing them. Also, we need a long playtime, because games be so easy to just flip like that. But yeah, this is my video about video games. This is just part 1 of it. Maybe I'll have a part 2 sometime in the future. But we just talked about games. It's always fun and it's always a blast to talk to y'all. But I'm out. Peace. Let them know.
You a blessing, my baby, are you a curse? Cause you know some situations come with their perks. I need a sign and a message from universe. Man, I'm just trying to love you, not trying to hurt. Are you a blessing, my baby, are you a curse? Cause you know some situations come with their perks. I need a sign and a message from universe. Man, I'm just trying to love you.